else likely to join me for the CRAY Valley 2 metre net? This is Golf 6 November Romeo Hotel. So far we've got M0JCF and G4NOW. If anybody else wants to join us, Golf 6 November Romeo Hotel.
G0 Fox Delta Papa.
Alright, Frank, you got you down. Anybody else like to quickly join us?
G290Z.
Good morning all. Nice signal there.
G80HB.
Kieran, trust you're well. Anybody else like to quickly join us?
Mike 7IPY reporting fractions there.
Maybe a lovely signal as usual. You, Mark.
Yeah, sorry, Dave. I don't know if you got a dodgy microphone or something, but your ends of your overs were really clipped off fast, and then nothing. So I didn't hear you hand over to me, unless my radio that I've just fixed has decided now to do a funny. So just give me another over, Dave, before I carry on. G6NRH M0JCF.
M0JCF, G6NRH. How's that, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely fine, mate. That's all right. It seemed to be missing something. I just wanted to see if your push to talk was going to give us some crackly noises. Anyway, hello everyone. I've got the running order for anyone who wants it, just in case. I know, like, Justin was the first one I heard this morning, but he seems to have slipped down the list. I've got G6NRH, then I've got me, then I've got G4NOW, I've got G0FDP, G8YTZ, G8CHB, and M7IPY. Everyone I can hear, absolutely no problems. I'll give reports on the next time around. Dave NOW, specifically for you, sounding good on that FT-290R. I'm using an FT-290R as well. This one's been used a few times on the net, but I finally got it, in a proper, what I would call a proper working state now. I'll give everyone the details on that on the next over, plus other details about my Kodar AT5 this week on Top Band AM. All very interesting, but I'll give proper reports if anyone wants them. I think we all know, unless we've all changed our setups. Today I'm using the FT-290R with a colinear antenna diamond. Is it the GP6 or the CP6? Can't remember which way round. I've got them both, but one of them's an HF antenna. And through the little microwave modules, linear amplifier are just under 30 watts, or maybe just over 30 watts actually. This week I'm using a proper 5 amp linear amplifier. So the last couple of weeks we've had all sorts of different reports based on what I've been using: humming, buzzing, white noise, all the rest of it. But this is a 5 amp linear power supply, powering it also, all good. As I say, I'll give you the technical details of the two radios later on. Over to G4NOW from M0JCF in the CRAY Valley Sunday Morning Net.
Short break. M0JCF G4NOW. Very good morning all. I'm using an FT-290R. The reason being, I'm going to try and do a CW link with Dawn this afternoon, and I've just seen it's working. Guy looked at my signal on a scope. He said this is over deviating and splattering a bit, so if anybody's got a scope on, maybe give me some views on it. I don't know how you adjust the deviation on this. Update is that currently we've got 5 application forms in for the foundation. 2 have paid. We've got one guy still dithering, but I think he's pretty firm to make 6, and possibly 2 question marks. I think Dave Hippie Bass had somebody lined up, but so it's not looking strong. I've been punting it greatly. This is a FT-290R Mark II. I think it's a Mark II, and and it's using a microwave module, so it appears to be putting out about 24 watts, but I'm told it's a bit splattery, so if anybody lets me know. I haven't really looked at the signal reports from everybody, but everybody was very loud. Pass it on now. I think it goes to Frank. G0 FTP, G4 now.
Yeah, all right, Dave. Yeah, well, as far as I'm concerned, from G0 FTP, no spluttering there, but I'm only going by my ears. I haven't got anything to electronically tell you whether you're deviating or not, but as far as I'm concerned, you're okay at the moment. To me, that's the main thing with me at the moment. Yep. Right, I won't say much at the moment. I'll wait because I've been trying to put the list down there. But next after me is G8. Is it J2Z? I don't know. I shouldn't think you're very cool on there, Justin. I think it's G8, J2Z, or it's YTZ. Not sure now, but anyway, I'll correct it in a minute when you tell me. I'll put it over to you then, anyway, Justin. Anyway, over to you from G0FTP.
Yeah, JYZ. I'm really confused with the order now because I put everything as the net controller. I put everything in the log as order, so I know what the order is. And now we seem to, because it had Dave, Frank, myself, Kieran, Dave. I didn't have anyone else in the order because they weren't introduced from the front. So it would help actually if we could just, have the order correct. So but then when I put it in the log, I've got a complete log order here. I'm sure everyone else is the same if they keep a log. I keep an electronic log on my NAS server with the front end Ham Radio Deluxe, and it's quite useful. That synchronises with QRZ and Logbook of the World, what have you. She's left the front door. So yeah, that kind of helps to sort of get it. Maybe I'm just particular about this stuff. I don't know. So I'm confused at the order before Dave, so or whatever. So there we go. What have I been up to? I've been up in Birmingham again this week. NRC yesterday. We had I think 482 visitors into the NRC yesterday. So it's quite a busy day. It looks like the season's incoming. It's just of course after half term, or the last part of half term. With some great kids in as well. One 11-year-old lad just turned 11 and very impressed of his electronics and software coding knowledge as well at that age. Certainly saw myself in him. It's exactly kind of where I was at that age. He was probably a little bit ahead of me if anything. But I think it's easier nowadays for kids to learn electronics and coding stuff younger because of the resources you have with the internet and YouTube. In my day, you'd wait for the next issue of Practical Electronics and Practical Wireless World and the like, and all the periodicals I used to get. And it was, I remember at 11-year-old thinking everyday electronics was beneath me. My friend at school, when we were out in South Africa, was the same, this is all baby stuff. There we go. What else was I going to say? I did put this on the reflector. So the new feature on the GB3JV repeater that people may not appreciate if they don't use it, the ones that are signed up will. If you sign up to the website, you'll get invited to the Slack channel. Now Slack, if you don't know, it's the darling of corporate tech companies, especially in the USA. And it's basically internet relay chat with a nice app front end. And it's used all over the place, and there's a free tier. You can sign up to Slack. And when you subscribe to the GB3JV Slack channel, you get notified about what's going on the repeater, particularly if the repeater's in use. So the idea really is that if somebody starts using the repeater, you get a notification to say, oh, there's someone on the repeater, so you can have a look and perhaps it starts a QSO, and it does actually. It does. The people who use that, it I've got specific reports for Mark, Euro 5 and 9 plus 20, and Dave, NOW, Euro 5 and 9 plus 20, Frank, Euro 5 and 9 plus 20, Justin, Euro 5 and 9, you didn't quite make the plus 20, and I heard Dave IPY call in, and I neglected to pick up your signal, Dave NRH. I could hear you quite well, a nice signal, but I never looked at the meter. I was too busy scribbling call signs down on my piece of paper to get the order right. Okay. Situation here, I'm running, pushing about 20 watts into a 2-meter colinear on the roof, technically known as a white stick. The rig here is the IC 9700, which is probably a little bit of overkill for the 2-meter net. Hoping that I'm getting reasonable signal reports all around, so I'll find out that in a few minutes' time. I'll keep it short at present, and more to say probably next over. So over to you, Dave. M7IPY from GA to CHB in the group.
GA to CHB, M7IPY returning. Morning everybody, morning Dave, morning Mark, morning another Dave, morning Frank, morning Justin, morning Kieran, morning Dave Ippy. Oh, that's me. Lots to report here. Been out radioing again, been down Sheppey, no surprises there, eh? And have discovered a net that happens on top band. I think it's most evenings actually, 1908 kilohertz. 1.9 megs, 1.908 megahertz. It's like multi-moded. One fella talks on 70 centimetres, and you listen to him through another person's transceiver that is receiving. I think it's called a talkback system or something. One person transmits in FSB and the other one transmits in AM. So it's a bit confusing to a newbie. I've quite got the hang of how they do it, but it's just a thing I discovered this week. I'll keep this over short because there's a lot of people on it today. I thought I heard a break earlier, hence the reason I left the polls before Kieran passed it over. But I'll sign off now. Well, actually, I'll pass it round to G6NRH and wait for my turn again. G6NRH from Mike 7IPY in the group.
7IPY, Golf 6, November, Romeo Hotel, returning in the CRAY Valley. 2-meter net. Yeah. Thanks a lot there, Dave. And, everybody's all 5 and 9, lovely signals as usual. I can't really differentiate between all of the signals because they're all 5 and 9 plus for me. As for deviation, Dave, your signal sounds okay this end, no problem whatsoever. Those 290Rs are fantastic. I've got one I'm supposed to give back to Laurie, hopefully when I see him next. And he also wants this unit, I can't remember the name of the thing now, where it helps that Morse trainer. His one's gone to the wall, as it were, and apparently uses a special chip. So I don't use it. So he asked if he can have it back. Oh, unit, which is not bad. They've got quite nice little units. But I've got so many of these little trainers things now that everybody, as usual, which I would expect. They're not making it yesterday. We're not making it on Friday. And this in C80.
Hey, G6NRH, you're having a problem with me. I can't hear you. You're in and out like a yo-yo. Sometimes I can hear you, sometimes I can't. Back to you.
Oh, maybe it's me not pushing the PCP. How's that, Frank? G6NRH, over to you. Just a quick report. Golf 6 November Romeo Hotel.
Well, that one you just transmitted there was okay, Dave. There's no blurping in and out on that one, so maybe you're not pushing the PTT down fast enough or holding it down. That's the main thing. Back to you from G0FTP.
Yeah, G0FTP, D6NRH returning, yeah. I think it's me just not pushing it down hard enough, and I do apologise. But other than that, as I said, everybody has a lovely signal, which I would expect. Let's be honest, we're not a million miles away. I mean, the first one is Justin, I think he's coming over 5 and 9 plus, so no problems at all. With that, I'll quickly pass it over to Mark. There we go. M0JCF, Golf 6 November Romeo Hotel in the group.
Yeah, with a break, G6 NRH M0 JCF. Yeah, Dave, that's exactly what I said. You know, the last time round, I knew there was an issue, and that one, we didn't hear half of what you said because I would say 50% of the time you was unkeyed, and that's why Frank jumped in. But of course, you wouldn't have heard anyone calling you to let you know you had a problem because you was you was still effectively in your mind keyed up. But anyway, you wasn't. But logs, Justin mentioned logs. You know, I gave up logging the network stuff. I mean, I write it down on a piece of paper, the running order, and the running order I got today was just as Dave G6 NRH read it out. It wasn't as we all called in just before the net started. So logs, yeah, I mean, I only use, I've used paper logbooks. I'm on about paper logbook number 15 since I was licensed, but I've always kept a paper logbook as a shortwave listener and otherwise. But I use QRZ online, but I gave up logging the 2 meter net online as I do other nets, and then because my paper logbook is up in the loft, this rig is down in the garage, and because it is up and I didn't want to keep several paper logbooks, and it just got messy, and I thought to myself, yeah, I talk to the same old rag bags, tow rags and jam rags every Sunday, and I think we all know on this particular radio everyone's 5 and 9 plus. Whatever we got, yeah, somebody mentioned the weather, didn't they? I think it was Kieran mentioned the weather. Beautiful morning, Kieran. I took the dog out over Avery Hill Park today. Me and my wife went for a walk around there. Still a bit muddy and soggy underfoot, especially across the grass, and even more so where they've been playing football. You know, it is a little bit chewed up, still a little bit soft underfoot. But yeah, it's a nice day. And Dave, IPY, you mentioned about people being on 70 SEMs and top band, etc. Yeah, cross band working. We used to work that back in the old days. Now, I used to, how about this one? This is the cross band I've used, which was a little bit unorthodox. Somebody would transmit to me on 2 meters or 70 centimeters, and I had a handheld, an old Yaesu dual band handheld back. This would have been the early to mid 80s, but I would talk to them on using a CB radio. You know, just one that I was back in the day, I was into repair, modification and whatever with CBs. So what we would do is, and what was funny was people, I could hear them calling. No, was it me? I could hear them calling. Hang on, I can't remember which way round it was. Whichever way round it was, but people used to be perplexed. The fact that I was keyed up solidly, not unkeying, and having this two-way conversation with someone, they couldn't hear the other person. Almost like I was talking to someone in the room, but had the microphone keyed. But that used to perplex people. But yeah, that was crossband working. He was listening on 27 megs. No, he wasn't. Yeah, he was listening 27 megs. I was listening, say, 70 centimeters. Anyway, that was the crossband working. And then the other thing as well is Morse. Dave, NOW. Now, You asked me, didn't you, about Morse on a 290R. I've never done it, mate. I can't help you with that one. I can't let you know, whether they sound good, bad or ugly. I don't do Morse, as most people know. And I haven't even attempted it to sort of get a feel for it. But you got the Mark II. The Mark II you can distinguish just by instantly looking at them, the Mark I, Mark II. You want the bulb replaced in yours? Yes, that is such a job. This one, it needed a new display. The display was absolutely bleeding all over the place for the last one, and you had to press it gently just to see what frequency you was on. Then you could let it go and it'd operate normally. The bulb was gone, etc. It had other faults as well. So I've been gradually doing it over the last, since Christmas. And now it's finished. But they take a grain of rice 12-volt bulb. A lot of people would probably, I suppose, replace it with an LED and a resistor, 47k resistor, something like that. But yeah, I had some grain of rice bulbs still hanging around from legacy days, when I used to repair such stuff sort of regularly. So I had it all apart, and really, you've got to have the knobs off, you've got to have half a dozen screws out, both covers off. Sometimes it's nice to have the battery box removed. And then, eventually you can pull everything forward. You have to have, say, all the knobs off, all the controls have to be undone, the aerial out, blah blah blah. Anyway, I replaced the display with one that I had from one that I decommissioned some time ago. The display was good in that one, but the rest of the radio just wasn't worth working on. And then I thought to myself, I'll put a grain of rice bulb in there as well. So it looks nice, it goes well. One thing I have noticed is the busy and on-air lights. Now the on-air light is red and it's glowing lovely. It's glowing lovely in my face. The busy light, I thought that looks a bit faint, and I've just realised what's happened is the LED, the rectangular LED, it hasn't gone into its recess properly. So I'm going to have the top cover off and just hook that back in. I've replaced the antenna. The other thing with FT-290Rs, especially the Mark Is, when you first switch them on, and if the needle immediately pegs to the right and the receive is awful, it's Q1014, I think. Basically, it's got no biasing or no decent biasing, so you bung in a 1 meg ohm resistor between the base and the emitter of that transistor. Do it on the solder side of the board, and that cures that. So I've done that. Audio cap, I did replace one audio cap. All in all, it goes, you can hear it, it's working. I know the last couple of weeks people have said I've had various issues that they could hear and have sent me videos, etc. And yeah, that was all down to the power supplies, inadequate power supplies, the wrong power supply, both on the radio and the little linear amplifier that I use with it. So this one, I think this is either number 12 or number 13 that I've repaired. So I'll have to get round to it at some time, selling it, and then wait for the next one to come in. I actually don't have any on the shelf at the moment. Around Christmas time I had 3 of them, but yeah, all gone and done and dusted. So that was the FT-290R. The other thing that I did, I finally got working this week, when I was an M6 back in 2017, I bought a Kodar AT5. And I totally rewired it, but I didn't have a power supply for it. The way I rewired it was literally 1 for 1. So remove that wire, replace that wire, remove that wire, replace that wire. You get the idea. And but I had no way of powering it up and testing it. Then a few years ago, a power supply came my way with 2 other Kodar AT5s. One of the AT5s went off to Sam, whose call sign, I tell this everyone, his call sign escapes me. So anyway, it went off to Sam, and then basically this AT5, the one that I'd rewired, I powered it up a couple of times with the help of what's his name, G3 do you know what? I've forgotten names and call signs today. It don't matter. It's Steve over Dartford Way, G3, whatever. So we got the AT5 powered up and it was producing 7 watts. Then I had like intermittent faults, blah blah blah. Got 3 different crystal microphones and I couldn't get any of them to work. And I did not believe that out of 3 crystal microphones, you know, it was going to be a microphone fault. So eventually this week, after swapping out valves, so I found out one of the valves, the modulator valve, was duff, blah blah blah. Borrowed a microphone off of Guy, G0UKN, got it all powered up, between 7 and 10 watts AM on 160, and had a half-hour QSO with him. I was using the FRG 7700 receiver as the receiver, and yeah, it works really, really nice. So I've just found another microphone on eBay. This will be the last microphone I'll buy, because these vintage tape recorder crystal microphones are an absolute mint now. They fetch such high prices. But I bought one from 1953, the Coronation, or the Coronet it's called. Little stick microphone, comes with a bass and that. And apparently, according to the advert, it was working. So if it's not working, I can get my money back. But they recommend an ACOS microphone. I do have an ACOS, but that one's not going, because the elements are Rochelle salts. They don't like heat. They don't like dampness, and that's eventually what kills them. And yeah, they've all been stored in people's sheds and God knows what else for the last like 50 years probably, or thereabouts. So that was that waffle. So the Kodar AT5, the third one that I had, Dave over in Welling bought it from me. I think he's in Welling. He bought it from me at the club on Thursday. I sold it dirt cheap. I sold it for 20 quid as a project, and a very worthwhile project. So the next thing I've got to do is build or finish building my regen valve receiver, which I started many years ago, before I was even licensed, and I'll finish that off, and then I'll lower the frequency to cover the top band, rather, because it's a medium wave receiver, and I'll have an authentic regen receiver to go with this a valve receiver, that is, to go with this transmitter. I think that's all bases covered from me today. I will be going off air at 10:45. We're going down to my daughter's in Sevenoaks, so in sort of 15 minutes or so. I am recording this gig. I haven't posted the last couple. They haven't been very good, and so I'll probably post this one up as it stands when I switch off. So that's the story. I don't think I've got any more to report. Dave NOW, if at some point you really want that bulb replaced, then yes, we can get around it. I'm sure we can give it a go. As I say, I haven't worked on a Mark II, so hopefully it will be the same, harder or easier. But we can have a look. That's no problem. But I suggest you get some good use out of it first, in case I make it irreparable. G4 NOW to take from M0 JCF in the CRAY Valley top band. No, the CRAY Valley 2 meter net.
Just seeing if anyone else is there. Don't think so. G4 NOW taking it from M0 JCF in the CRAY Valley 2 meter net. Well, thanks very much for that. It's a Mark 1. I've just discovered it. It's a Mark 1. Because it's a Mark 1, the only way you can transmit CW is to hold the mic down. There's that you can use a foot pedal. But that's being used on a standby or PTT sockets being used by the microwave module. So hopefully I'll make contact with Dawn this afternoon. I've got the high mount paddle here, the CRAY Valley practice oscillator. So everything's being tested. Anyway, good to hear everybody. Everybody is 5 and 9, absolutely solid. Yeah, I might take you up on the bulb. It's the Mark 1, and it seems to be working okay. But I'm just going to put in a dummy load after this and just see if it's putting out any CW. Have I got anything else to say? No. The CRAY Valley Morse classes are coming to an end next week. We've got the beginners class going on, and I'm in the fundamentals. We're all up to nearly 10 words a minute, but we've got to do our test for for our tutor before next Tuesday. Very good guy, Roland, and as I say, he's taken Dawn from 0 to 10 words a minute very, very well, and several others. We've got, I think there's probably about 7 or 8 CRAY Valley people on. Starts again in May, June, and then it starts again the cycle back in September, October. Anyway, I'll push it back on. G0 FDP, G4 now.
G4 now, G0 FTP return. Yeah, well, I'm a bit confused here at the moment because I've got my granddaughter and her husband coming in with bits and pieces past the hallway to me, and they're taking things out and putting them in my spare room at the back of the house now. Now, I'm not quite sure what's been going on because I had to dash upstairs a little while ago to answer the phone. But then the phone rang off and I come down here and I'm trying to find out who it was. And it was my granddaughter who's trying to phone me. But there we are. She's there now. So at least I know who it was. Right. I was going to say something, but there's so much going on here at the moment. I'm not quite sure what to do, what to say at the moment. But I'll put it back to the next one. Justin, obviously, Justin's got a lot to add. He can add because I'm quite awed at what you're doing up there in Birmingham there, Justin. This little lad of only 11 years of age, mind you, he's doing great, isn't he? He's quite good at, mind you, see, the youngsters of today got a good memory, good brain, that's the main thing, and they pick up things fairly quickly. Not like us old fogies, it takes ages for it to sink in, but there we are. Anyway, I'll put it back to you, Justin, now, and you can continue on what you were telling us earlier on from G0FDB.
Yeah, Birmingham is my daughter's house refurbishment. That's why I've been up there again. So that's what it's doing. Yeah, no, about logbooks. I find it amazing that, especially people into contesting and stuff. I'm not, but electronic logbooks are absolutely fantastic. I'm sure most people use them, but they really are very good. The number of people who don't use logbooks, and you might talk to someone on the air, and because you use an electronic logbook, and if you paid a few quid and use the API for QRZ.com, you put the call sign in, it comes up with all their details, where they are, your rotator bearing, and your and the name, of course. So you can answer people by name and what have you. And you speak to somebody, you say, oh yeah, we've worked half a dozen times, we worked last week or something, or week before last. And they go, oh sorry, what was the name again? And then it's like, can't you remember from 2 weeks ago we had a conversation? And it's just like, I find it quite strange. I always, recognise people even from years ago, but the aid memoir that having that log helps you. You can say, oh yeah, we last worked in 2021 or something like that. I can't always remember people. It might take a memory jog, but the logbook entry, which is immediately searchable as soon as you put the call sign in. Let's have a look. Let's just put in G0 FTP, for example. Well, let's put now NOW. Well, if I just do a look up on Dave there, then I can. Sorry, just put it in G4 NOW. Now do a look up, right? But the call sign incorrectly. I can see we last worked on the 2nd of the 2nd, then the 8th of the 12th, and the 17th of the 11th. And when did we first meet on air? 25th of July 2021 at 0904. And you've got that whole list of all the conversations you've had with that person. For people you maybe not talk to so often, it's great. So I find it confusing that, not every amateur is using an electronic call book, but there we go. Maybe it's just me. I think it adds a lot, and I really like that myself. I'm desperately here in background mode trying to get Slack to work on my Linux machine. I just don't understand why I've uninstalled this thing. There's still this rogue old app sitting there, and I would have used last time, and can't seem to. Even it sort of says you go down, it's showing as installed. You try and uninstall it, doesn't go. So it keeps going back to this old version. Oh, there we go. I'll have to go through it and find out where the rogue files are and get rid of them. I think it's fun. Going out for lunch today. My dad is 87 today, so we're taking him out and his girlfriend to Chapter 1 Sunday lunch, because we like a nice Sunday lunch, so that's what we're doing today. And I've got some little gifts for him as well. He's had one already, actually. I've got a couple more gifts for him. So yeah, 87, and he's yeah. So I tend to keep an eye on him, and I have to keep an eye on my daughter as well. So between the two, I haven't got any time left for me. No me time anymore. So there we go. I'm sure everyone has got to my sort of ripe old age of nearly 65 has the same issue, you know, looking after parents, looking after kids as well, no matter how old they are. It's still need looking after. I don't know if it's sort of piggy in the middle. Maybe I'll be the old man one day and people look after me. There we go. I suppose I'm an old man, really. My wife keeps telling me anyway. Right, there we go. Around you, Kieran, CHBG, what did you say?
G8YTZ, G8CHB returning. You nearly caught me there, Justin. I was concentrating on something else, and you finished rather abruptly and caught me on the hop. Right. So firstly, I've got a couple of reports to do. G6NRH, you're 5 and 9 plus 10 with me. That's okay. And then, yeah, I got that little problem you had with the clipping, but that seems to be all cleared up now. And Dave IPY, you're a 5 and 9 as well. So that's all the reports done. Dave NOW, you were worried about your signal early on. As far as I'm concerned, it's absolutely perfect. Nothing wrong here. Absolutely clear. 5 and 9 plus 20. And a beautiful signal. And by the way, just before the net began this morning, I popped you an email making an inquiry about a foundation candidate. I hope you catch it. It's just a new member application. And good luck with the CW QSO this afternoon. I hope that goes well. I think it's absolutely excellent, and I'm very much game for running something at 10 words a minute, or indeed less than 10 words a minute. And in fact, if at the end of this net you want to actually have a quick check to see if your setup is working, just give me a frequency. I'll have a listen in and send you a report back in CW at somewhere between 5 and 10 words a minute to check if it's all working. Okay, so I'll leave it as a thought. Right. Speaking about logs, yeah, I've unfortunately I'm sitting on the fence here. Sometimes I do paper log, and sometimes I do WinLog. In fact, I was setting up WinLog again yesterday, and I fell into a trap that I've fallen into before, and I was kicking myself because it caught me the second time round. When you set up WinLog for the first time, and it seems not to recognize your rig and doesn't show anything happening, and the correct frequency is not turning up on WinLog, I found that if you actually rotate the dial on the rig, then suddenly the correct frequency comes up. But before that happens, you begin to think the whole thing isn't working. And similarly, if you're on CW and it won't report that until you've switched from CW perhaps to SSB or something else and switch back again, and then it will suddenly recognize that you are in CW mode. So that's a tip for anybody setting up WinLog who doesn't think the thing is working. Otherwise, it's fine and it's all going well. So I do a fair bit now on CW. I'm not that great on SSB, unfortunately, because my hearing isn't what it used to be, and course Kia. I'm at the CRAY Valley project. Listen, now to me that isn't H and I, because I thought that when you power them up, it's supposed to say hi, which I think is dip dip dip. Yeah, dip dip. I think no, dip 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 dip. I think that's meant to be high, but for some reason I've lost the dip. I don't know why. I've looked all around. It's not on the floor. Lord knows what's happened to it, but it works okay. And I can I've got a 3.5 mil to 3.5 mil male jump lead, and I can short tip to ring. I've got tip to screen and ring to screen, and do dits and dars. So it all appears to be working okay. So in the future, and I know what Dave 4 now is lining up to say, join the course. Yeah, I will do one day. I've got an awful lot on this year. I'm involved in motorcycling, as you know, and mopeding, and I want to try and get out cycling from my own health again, which is something that I used to do, believe it or not, a huge amount. I know you're looking at the size of me, you wouldn't believe it, but I used to be a very, very keen cyclist 6 years ago. But I got ill in 2020 and put massive amounts of weight on because of some of the treatments that I've been put on. So I've got a lot happening this year, so it won't be happening this year, but at least I do have a practice Kia, and there's nothing to stop me just playing and learning at my own speed and then join a course at some time. So hopefully that's a long-term plan on the radio front. Interesting people talking about logging. When I first become an M7, that's one of the things that I posted on, I think it was either the Reflector or the WhatsApp group, and certainly Log of the World and QRZ came up as recommendations. Both of them have got limitations, it seems. I've used QRZ because it's the most simple and colourful, user-friendly one for me. So I've stuck with that, and I've built up like a web page and introduction. And yeah, I agree with Justin. It's a great introduction. It's you just type in their key, their call sign, and bang, you're on first name terms straight away, and it just makes for an easier QSO. I use it on the phone when I'm out working mobile from Sheppey, or any other place. I don't just go to Sheppey, I do go to other places, but Sheppey's the one that seems to work really the best, or Mint stuff I've been using a bit. But I'm interested on people's views where you link Log of the World, I believe it is, to QRZ, and then you can, I think you get more confirmations that way. I'm up to 55 countries that I've contacted. I had a really great session down there on Wednesday, and got into other countries I've never got into before. Moldova I got into, Victor. ER1VS I got in. I never contacted Moldova before, so that was a new country for me. I also did Ukraine, Kuwait, Portugal, Russia, Poland, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Italy twice. Oh, that was amazing. The two crazy Italians that were both working mobile, and then we all three of us worked mobile together. They were very excitable, as was I must say. It was good fun. Canada, I got into Canada, Poland and Spain. Oh, and Cromer, a far off country called Cromer in Norfolk, which Guy assures me is not a DXCC entry, or the entity, I think the word is, which is funny. But yeah, I need to do more reading about Log of the World and QRZ. It will come gradually. It's such a big hobby, and I'm only scratching the surface of it at the moment, and thoroughly enjoying scratching that itch. Time to hand it over to our Dave. So G6NRH from M7IPY and the gang.
Yeah, M7IPY, Golf 6 November, Romeo Hotel. Hopefully keeping the PTT pressed in and not releasing it. Sam, you're doing a grand job, Dave. God, dear, oh dear. When it comes to logbooks, I always do a paper log. I always have done. I did have Win32, which I loved because you could put things in afterwards. You didn't have to do it on the fly. You could actually do it afterwards, which I did start doing. And I got a bit lax, and it got further and further away. So I gave that up as a bad job, and then started just using the paper log instead. Because I used to fill in the paper log, and then I used to transpose it into Win32. And then it got to a stage I found that it's a bit tedious. So now I just use the paper log, and that's it. Which I always have done. go back with a paper log when you had your last contact and everything else. But it's more awkward because you have to keep keeping your books out and sort of going through. And with a computerised log, it's a lot better. Hopefully everybody can still hear me. I haven't slipped off the PCT. But yeah, nice to hear everybody. What else was I going to say? Something of merit, I suppose, or not. But yeah, I take my hat off to you, David. You're doing really well. I've been, I suppose, licensed for about 40 years, and I haven't done half what you've done. But there again, I pick it up and then put it down like a hot potato amateur radio, because to me, it's one of those things you can fall in and out of. It's not my life, as it were, because I've got other interests. But it's nice to come back when you need to. It's nice that you can do this and carry on with your life and do other things. But yeah, so my heart goes out to you, mate. You're doing really well. Yeah. There is a program which I downloaded. It was on a Radcom issue. I forget what it's called now, but it was for parts on the air and you name it, in all the different venues for portable work, and that is amazing. It actually lists all the parks that if somebody's operating, it picks them up, and then it'll tell you what park they're in, and whatever. Even if it's what else do they do? Oh, they do what is it now? Oh God, it was on the air, and it's got a list of these programs, and it sounds really good. Anyway, I'm gonna hopefully I haven't slipped off the mic. And over to you, Mark. M0JCF Golf 6 November Romeo Hotel in the group.
Yeah, G6NRH M0JCF. Yeah, right at the end there, Dave, you slipped a couple of times, but we can allow a bit of slippage, can't we? But Justin, happy birthday to your dad. Kieran, you talked about a Moxon for 10 metres. Believe it or not, I'm meant to be building one of those, and I've got all the dimensions. I've got the, you need 2 12-foot lengths of a 1-inch plastic pipe as the stand-offs or the support. And I've got the rest of the dimensions also. I've got the brackets made up for the centre, the cross, the X. If it was Moxon, I'm sure you said it was Moxon for 10 metres. Sorry, I got slightly distracted as you were saying that. And that's it for me, everyone. I'm going QRT. I am overdue. I'm meant to be in the car now, driving down the A20 to the 25 to the 21. To get to Sevenoaks, and I should have been doing that 10 minutes ago. So 73s, everyone. Have a great Sunday, whatever's left of it. For some of us, every day's a Sunday. I think for most of us, every day's a Sunday. But take it easy. Good day. As I say, this video will probably go up minus the end. I suppose you're going to do another round now, but you won't be on for the final round. So take care, goodbye, and M0JCF handing it over to G4 now.